Today I'm going to do a video on what the very best helmet is for steel fighting. Okay, I'm kind of joking about that. I'm going to talk to you about my opinion on the helmets I like and what I like. I'm going to preface this by saying that people are going to have different opinions and many people are going to disagree with me, particularly people who are on the more authenticity side of the sport and the reenactment side of the sport than the sports side of the sport. And again, you can be anywhere on that spectrum. There's no right or wrong. That's just the way I view this. I am very focused on functionality and safety more than anything. What looks cool also matters, but I think coolness depends on who you talk to and your opinion on it. So I'm going to talk about helmets and some of the different styles of helmets and some of my beliefs on it, and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. But before I do that, I do want to say we're running right now a special limited time sale on Executioner shirts. Help promote us going to Spain for the IMCF World Championships, as well as the AMCF, American Medieval Combat Federation shirts. I'm going to put links below. Please consider buying one of these shirts, helping support my team and the other teams heading to the World Championships in Spain to help represent us and support Team USA. It's been a long time since I've been able to travel to one of these big fights. I'm very excited to go. It's my first time fighting overseas. So please take a look at the link below and maybe buy a shirt or two. But back to the video. So helmets. Why am I doing this? There's a lot of conversation in some of the chats right now and some of the different pages about what the best helmet is and what bad helmets are. A lot of memes going back and forth and everyone's kind of joking. But I did think for the newer fighter, it can be a little confusing or for someone who doesn't have as much experience. So what I'm not going to talk about is steel thickness, type of helmet and all of that, because I think that is relatively easy to figure out. You can look at the rules for your league and see what's required. You can talk to anyone who's been fighting and they can tell you what's required and what they use. What I'm going to talk about is some of the different styles and what I prefer, right? So right now you see I'm holding here the dreaded wolf rib. This is not my helmet. This is a different helmet. This is actually one of the women fighters helmets on our team in New England, but I borrowed it for this demonstration, and this is a wolf rib helmet. So some people love these helmets, some people hate these helmets. There are two reasons people tend to hate them. Is one, they don't like the look, they don't think it looks authentic enough or medieval enough or whatever it may be. I particularly like the look, so that doesn't work for me. The other piece is the safety piece of it. And this is why when I've seen people post about are wolf ribs good or bad, you get these very different opinions on it. I think one thing to discuss is that they can be made very differently. So I've said before, there are some wolf ribs I will not fight in. Ever. Wouldn't do. Some of them I definitely would. And the main factor why I brought this helmet is you can see the number of eye bars that are put on this helmet. This helmet has relatively small gaps for anything to get through. There are some wolf ribs with only one of these, so you have wide gaps that a sword could slide through in, particularly in a duel situation where there's a lot more of smaller, lighter swords like long swords or arming swords striking. I know no thrusting, but thrusts do happen by accident. And that's what scares me, is getting something into my grill here. It's going to be very hard for a sword to get into the one that has this much protection. So when people say wolf rib, you've got to look at what design it has. Now, this helmet in particular would not pass HMB or Battle of the Nations or whatever bohurt league. I don't even know what we're calling it today, but it wouldn't pass their authenticity rules. This has too many safety bars. That is one of my biggest gripes with that league, is not being able to add extra safety bars, because I think safety should come before historical accuracy. But in America, in IMCF, and in actually any American fight I can think of, no matter what league you're in, this is a perfectly valid helmet. And while being a wolf rib, gives you great visibility, great breathability, and gives you relatively good safety with your eyes, as far as any helmet is, where you're going to have to be able to see out of. Right, so I do like this helmet a lot. This is a helmet I would consider wearing. I think that it gives you all of the benefits of being able to see well and breathe well, while the safety of the extra eye bars, if it didn't have those, or it made me cut them out, I wouldn't fight with them. Not a chance. I'm not losing my eyes over a sport. And that's just my opinion with it. So, I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm going to grab my helmet. This is my helmet here. My helmet is a nasal. I don't love the nasal look. This is the helmet I got when I got into the sport, and I got it a good deal on it. But you can see, if you look at it, actually, this thing just came through some fights, and you gotta see all this chainmail has to be reattached. I gotta put this back, I do a lot of work on it. So really, I'm only gonna have this normally, right? So closer to this side as far as visibility. I see perfectly fine out of this, but if you look under the chainmail, it's just a bunch more of iron bars. So again, breathability fine, visibility fine, safety fine. It's got small eye slots, so it's going to be hard to get something through, so you're going to be relatively safe in something like this. This is why I like these types of helmets. I like the safety. Do I love the look and the big squidward nose? I don't love it. I don't particularly care, but it works well, and it's become my helmet, so I like it as mine. But that's the reason I like these types of helmets, is I like nasals, I like wolf ribs, I like all those that give me a better sportification and breathability and visibility than some of the Griffin helms and the other closed types helms that you'll see out there. Now, there's nothing wrong with those. There's nothing wrong with all the different helmet types, as long as, again, they meet minimum standards and all that. And some of them do have even some more eye bars. You can always put perf plate or a bunch of other things in there as well. But I think when you're choosing your helmet, you should be looking at those things. The look you want obviously matters, because we all want to be cool. And then the safety of the helmet. And we're talking about eye safety particularly, not today like how thick it is or how much, I'm assuming you're going to do things like you're going to have your neck plates and all that stuff. So that's a given. You're going to have anti-concussion padding in, but that doesn't matter on the helmet type. That's the same for everybody's helmet. So what we're talking about here is really a lot of the conversation comes down to this breathability and visibility versus safety, and can you do both? And you can do both, right? You can have a helmet with extra eye bars. At least in the US, totally fine. Someone's out there's going to say, well, I've never lost an eye, and I've never seen anyone lose an eye, and that's fine. I'm glad that it hasn't happened. I came from paintball. Paintball has very strict eye safety protocol. Like, we have to have sealed goggles. There are specific rules. And they actually added a chin strap recently under the paintball goggles, which I think they may have changed the rule a little bit, but at certain levels tournaments you have to wear it. And the reason for that is someone got their mask knocked off at point blank and got a paintball in the eye in a high level competition. And the guy lost his eye, or became very close, but I believe he lost his eye. So it happened once. They made a rule to make it safer. I think we should do the same thing here. I think eye safety matters, and keeping it as safe as possible, especially in those dual formats. I do want to talk about the other helms that people talk a lot about, the idea of helmet horrors, right? You're blowing your CO2 out and you can't breathe, you can't get oxygen back in, not enough breathability holes. I'm sure there's some helmet out there that truly doesn't let you breathe, but I would say I think a lot of that is more myth and fear than reality. And I say this coming from someone who's worn helmets in a bunch of different formats. I know paintball has different face masks. You have some that have sealed like plastic up here, some that are very breathable. I've played football. You get your football helmets, which are very breathable, of course. But I also rode motorcycles and dirt bikes. I've had fully closed face helmets, and I've had open face ones. And in every format of the helmet, I can breathe. I just don't think there is enough difference in breathability with air holes when you have this entire open vent down here that you can suck oxygen up and down. The bottom of your helmet up here is always going to be able to get air in and out. So I think a lot of that is anxiety, nervousness. I've seen people put on Griffins and have helmet horrors. I've seen people put on, nasals and have helmet horrors. I've seen all of that. And I think that a lot of it is the psychology of it and the fear of it and the thinking I can't breathe versus the actual breathability. I've worn other helmets and put them on and done some stuff in them, and I go, I really can't tell the difference as far as like how much oxygen I can get in or out. I often can't breathe in any helmet because I'm tired and I'm breathing like that as I'm trying to recover, and that's just the fact that this sport is hard. So I think that we've got to get away from that like breathability fear so much. Visibility is real. Right? Some helmets have very low visibility. Some have little eye slits that you can barely see, and some don't give peripheral vision. Some don't let you look down well. That is a consideration. On the other hand, no helmet lets you see great. Even the wolf rib, you're going to have bars that get in the way. You're going to have something in the way. So you're just going to have to adapt to that. I think the point of this is don't get so hung up on what the best helmet is. Look at the helmets, the style you want, Does it fit your armor in a way that you care about? Does it fit the dynamics of your team and culture? And is it safe? If you do all those things, you can just get a helmet you like, right? I really, really like some of the bassinets and different types of helmets out there. I might get one if I ever replace this nasal, but I'm probably going to go with the wolf rib. Honestly, why? Because I see a lot of people around me fight with wolf ribs. I see their visibility, and I go, yeah, that's what I like. You know, that's what works for me. So I just think that we need to get away from a little bit of this idea, especially if a newer fighter, like, what's the best helmet? I mean, we've got people fighting all over the country and some top fighters in different helmets, and I don't think if you swapped out, you know, if you took Cat Brooks's wolf rib and put a Saleh on him or something, like, he suddenly wouldn't be able to fight. Like, I think if you take a lot of the top people, you know, if you take, you know, any of the top fighters off Warlords, you switch their helmet, would they suddenly be bad at fighting? No, it wouldn't make any difference, right? So I think that you want to think about this more as, does it protect you? Can you see out of it? Does it give you what you want? And if so, that's the helmet you want. Now, you can talk about makers, and you can talk about thickness, you can talk about all that stuff. That's a more in-depth conversation, but when you're starting this journey and you're trying to find what you want, or you're going shopping for helmets, like, start there. Do you like it? Is it safe? Can you see? And then maybe at the bottom, like, how's the breathability? So you do those things, pick the helmet you want, have a good time, and then go out and fight. Again, I'm the Woodchuck Knight. Like, subscribe, follow, all that wonderful stuff. As I said, down below, check out the links for the limited offer shirts to help us go to Spain, and I appreciate everyone watching.